time, I'd like to share with you some news about Oceanborn. So Oceanborn is our brand that's very much dedicated to saltwater fishing and, more generally speaking, strong, powerful fish. Well, we have not one but two new lures, two new sizes that are about to come, and with TackleDirect you'll be able to pre-order them. So that's pretty cool. And I'm talking about Flying Popper 100 and Flying Pencil 110. So let's go a bit in detail. So the first thing you can see next to me, you see basically two very different type of outfit, okay? A light to medium, and well, pretty much, strong outfit. Why am I showing you these both? Well, in the way I came in the design of those baits, I made sure that we were able to have teeny baits. Basically 100 millimeter is 4 inch, and 110 is about 4 inch and a quarter. So pretty small baits, but I want to make sure that they were really filled with feature, that not only you can use them on your current regular type of fishing, schoolie fish, schoolie striped bass, peacock bass. Yeah, I'm saying that also. Strong fish. So peacock bass is a freshwater fish, but very strong. Snook, tarpon, calicos, tuna. It does it all, and that's why I have two different outfits. So let's go with this guy first, the Flying Popper 100. So it comes with three different models. It comes with a floating one. So the floating one basically have a treble hook in the tail. It have a small medium size treble hook, which is perfect when you want to use a light to medium sized rod and gear. Why? Well, because that guy is a floater, and when he floats about like that, so you can make pose. That's why I choose to design a floater one. But what you have inside is true with all the range. You have a straight wire through going from the nose all the way to the tail, and here, and that wire is basically 250-pound stainless steel wire, and in the tail you have a 250-pound stainless steel swivel. So thanks to that, when you want to use light to medium tackle with a floating one that weighs a bit more than 3/4 of an ounce, make pretty good casts. That's Flying Popper, so it's really designed with ribs and side wings to help you to have that bait to make very good casts. And you can pop it, stop it, pause it, and if you end up to hook a pretty good fish, it's a very strong construction. That is why I choose for all those models to have only a hook in the tail, no hook underneath the belly. Why? Well, because typically on a small lure, and I'm sure you know about topwater bait, that if a topwater bait of that size have two treble hook, well, they will be kind of small. And in fact, as my goal is to be able to catch average size fish, but also the strong ones, I much rather have a good sized hook in the tail. And that's why I have that straight wire through construction, and that's why I choose that size of hook for the floating one. So the floating one is again your light to medium tackle. Now we have two other models, same body, but the weight, the position of the weight and hook, you can notice it's definitely a bigger treble hook. Here's the floating, here's a SLD. So some of you are probably already used to the word SLD. For those of you who don't know, that means super long distance. That's one model that I've set and tuned in a way the position and the amount of weight make that bait really make very long casts. We're talking, it's a small bait, right? We're talking about a 1.5 ounces. So that's basically twice the weight of the floating. That's why the SLD makes a much longer cast, and it has that beautiful swim action that you will love to use when you don't want to go into the pure popping action, but having that swim action. So it casts very well, 1.5 ounces in 4-inch long bait. That's great. A bigger treble hook, so that helps you to use a heavier line, heavier gear and tackle, and great action. This guy you can retrieve and have that swim action. When you pop it, one thing I love to do is make long pull and reeling. Long pull and reeling. When I reel, the bait dive a teeny bit, and I pull, it come back on the top, make a long 2-3 feet long glide on the top and make that big wake and wave and and popping. You can have shorter pop, a bit faster, and then it pops and pops, or you can just burn it very fast. It's on the top, make a lot of bubble. A bubble trail is really good for a number of predator fish. Striped bass absolutely love that, for example. Calicos, where they are very active. And think about all kind of blue water fish too. I'm talking about, you know, mahi-mahi and stuff like that. That's a great bait for that action. Now, if you really want to go with heavy tackle and targeting, for example, tuna, as you know, all kind of tuna sometimes are targeting very small prey. That's where you can go with the tuna rocket. The tuna rocket is the heaviest of all. In the absolute, that's the one to make the longest distance. We're talking, in that case, of about 2 ounces. And you have a single hook and a very strong split ring. So now if you want to use that, say with 50-pound braid, you can make really long distance even with a powerful rod like this, targeting, you know, yellowfin, bluefin tuna when they're targeting small prey. If you have a bigger lure, sometimes you have no or very few bites, when a teeny lure can do the job. And what's very unique is, you know, you have such a very teeny lure. Again, it's 4-inch long with a single hook. It's very strong, 250-pound wire inside and swivel in the tail, so you can rely on that. So you can catch, you know, 80-pound tuna with no problem. And the weight is enough that you can also basically jig it. You also do have some kind of action. The swim action is better on the SLD. So for example, if I fish from a beach for striped bass, I typically will much rather have the SLD. But if I'm fishing where the absolute distance is the most important, or if I want to fish deep because, well, it's not water lure, but it's so heavy, you can let it sink and jig it, or let it sink and retrieve and swim it on the way back. You have a great action. So if you fish a canal, if you fish, for example, a jetty, rocks, when you have an inlet and outgoing tide and you want to make that long cast, let dive and swim in the current, the tuna rocket is not limited to tuna, obviously, can catch you a lot of fish, and it's very, very loaded. So that's the flying popper 100. Again, there's the tuna model, tuna rocket model with that single hook. We have the SLD super long distance model. That's the one overall I use personally the most. And then you have the floating one with a teeny bit smaller treble hook, not that small, which is great if you want to fish the inshore for reds and snook. If you have a situation where you need to make that pause and pop, where you need the bait to float on the top, that's the one you want to use. Stripers, many different fish. Now, that's the flying popper 100, which is 4 inch, sorry. Now, the other model I just came with, that you also can pre-order right now, is basically this guy. That's the Flying Pencil 110. So the Flying Pencil 110 come in 3 different options. You have the sinking, you have the SLD, and you have the tuna rocket. So why did I came with a Flying Popper 100 floating and a Flying Pencil 110 sinking? Because in that case, my goal was to be a bit more dedicated to the distance. Walking the dog being a big thing for this kind of bait. That's why the sinking, in fact, casts better than a floating, and I have a fantastic, that's the best one when it comes to walk the dog. If you love that action, you know, fish love the walking the dog action, the sinking is great for that. Good distance, even with light tackle, you know, if you want to fish 8, 10, 12, 15 pound, up to 20 pound braid, that's great. You have a good hook. Again, if you hook a good fish, you can rely on that. It's also a 250-pound straight wire through, stainless steel wire through with that 250-pound swivel in the tail. So that's the sinking. That's the one I will use more likely with a medium, light to medium tackle. Now, like I say for the flying popper, well, that's the same thing to my point of view. I love the SLD, super long distance. So it's really tuned for to make a very long cast, and it have that great swim action on the retrieve, and it's heavy enough that you want to let it dive sometime and jig it, and it does pretty well like this. So that's why the SLD is definitely a go-to choice in many situations, because with the right retrieve, it still work on the top. It's definitely much heavier than the sinking. At the end, say that the sinking is 25 grams. That's a bit short of 1 ounce. When this guy is 1 3/4, so definitely a big difference. Much longer cast, bigger hook. So when you have those nights or days where striped bass, many fish are targeting small bait, you still have enough weight that you really can use a strong surf rod, you know, 30-pound, 40-pound braid if needed in some place. Still will cast very well, and great action. And then this guy also have, well, guess what? The tuna rocket model. This one is the heaviest of all the 6. The tuna rocket flying pencil 110 is basically 2.5 ounces. So definitely you can use that on 50, 80 pound braid, targeting tuna, mahi, I mean, whatever it is, when they're targeting small prey. Casts very, very well. It's really made for at least medium and fast or really burning retrieve. It will skip on the top thanks to the side wings that you can see here. So it come on the top and really flee very beautifully. That's really great for those predator fish that are targeting, you know, fast-moving prey. And thanks to the weight, that's a fantastic bait to jig. I mean, really to jig. 2.5 ounces in only 4 inch and a quarter. That bait glide very well thanks again to the side wings. It glides beautifully in the water. So you can jig it, let it dive, jig it, let it dive, and next cast, you can use it on the very top. There's extremely few lures in the world that can as well fish, you know, 200 feet. No kidding you, it's 2.5 ounces. You can let it go 200 feet deep, or you can fish it on the top. And it's also a great bait to troll. So those 2 baits, again, just to show you them again, the new Flying Popper 100 in 3 different models, the floating, the SLD, and the tuna rocket, and the Flying Pencil 110 in sinking, SLD, and tuna rocket. Those are available for pre-order right now with TackleDirect. So stay tuned, check right here, and you'll be able to pre-order if you're interested by those lures, and they will come very soon, ready to tie on your line. Those baits are killers.